What's one thing about this industry that hasn't changed in 20 years and should?
And should? Oh, yes. Okay. But one thing that I don't think is talked about enough, factory direct kind of brands showing up, selling in our marketplace. But the quantity of these things, this one's done, okay, this one popped up. Okay, wait, that one was done, now this one's back. It's happening a lot.
The designer strategy in general, obviously it's a very different market to go after. Mm-hmm. So how have you all been able to accomplish that? What do you think a brand would need to do, or anybody listening to this conversation?
One thing that really leans into that is our brand storytelling. Designers love to tell a story.
Being good at that storytelling, how does that impact, ultimately you're doing that for a reason.
It all comes down to how easy are you, the brand, to do business with? How easy is it to sell? How easy is it to talk about? So if you don't have your brand down from a catalog standpoint, if you don't have your brand down digitally, if you're not ready, then reps won't gravitate to that.
Today on the podcast, we welcome Ryan Ranzino from Crystorama, one of the most recognizable names in decorative lighting since 1958. Ryan has been there for 17 years and runs sales, but he's deeply involved in brand strategy, product development, and channel decisions. This conversation is for anyone in wholesale who's trying to figure out how to protect their brand in an increasingly crowded market and how to build a sales operation that can actually compete. Ryan, welcome to the podcast. Thank you, Ryan, first off, for joining us for just a brief conversation, learn a little bit more about you, your role, and the industry at large. So just for the audience, go ahead and give a brief introduction of yourself and kind of what your role is at Crystorama.
Sure. So thank you for having me. I appreciate that first and foremost. I'm Ryan Ranzino, Vice President of Sales at Crystorama, and I've been at Crystorama for 19 years this coming June. So it's been a
tried and true.
It was a long time. Yeah. Before Crystorama, I was at a lighting company called World Imports. So if you're in the lighting industry, you would recognize that name, old school name. They're no longer around. So that's how I started in lighting. So a vice president of sales, but we're a small family company, so I wear a lot of hats. Sure. I work on them, help Nancy with the marketing side, help Brad and Nancy on the product development side. Obviously the sales side, where we're managing the rep force out in the field, our independent rep team, manage our internal sales team. So, small company, been there a while, so a lot of hats.
Yeah, a lot of hats. Something where I think we hear a lot, right, in this space. Yeah, very similar story, which is honestly one of the reasons why I love it so much is that you get to work very directly with people who have built something from the ground up. Really, this just thinking about you being at Crystorama at somewhere for 19 years. I mean, that by itself is pretty impressive. I'm just curious, like what's kind of kept you there over the period of time?
Crystorama, when I started in 2007 to Crystorama today, is a completely different brand. We have grown leaps and bounds. Our product category has grown really. We first started, we were branching out into the Crystorama, we're more than crystal. Like that was like the first 10 years of my career at Crystorama was me just on the soapbox, like we're more than crystal. I think we're kind of past that a little bit. People know us a little bit more, so I don't have to say that always. That's not my opening line every time I walk into a design firm or a lighting showroom or something like that. But we have been around. We're an established brand. Brad and Nancy, brother and sister, are running the company now. Their father started it in 1958 in Brooklyn, and they started it as a crystal importer. When you think of traditional crystal chandeliers, that's how it started. And so when I joined the team in 2007, they had plenty of that, and we still have plenty of that. We still have that traditional core crystal customer. But the product line, if you look at our product, if you go to our website, you look at our Instagram, we're well beyond just traditional crystal. Even the crystal that we may have now might be more, a little bit more modern edges, modern. I think your question was how has it changed over these years? Yeah. Number one, with the breadth of product. That's number one. And I think that Brad and Nancy kind of grew up in the lighting industry. They, when Brad started, he started at their lighting retail side of the business. This family is all in lighting,
through and through.
Right. So they know lighting backwards and forwards. And so the biggest difference with Crystorama today versus where it was is breadth of product, but leaning on those retail roots, thinking like a retailer has helped Crystorama exceed expectations, like from a price point standpoint. Like we when we come out with a new product, we don't think of it like, okay, this is a 3-light vanity. We're like, this is a 3-light vanity. This has to retail at this price. We know the retail prices. Like this is, we already have it figured out, and then we try to value engineer it or try to figure it out to get it into that price point.
Interesting. Okay, I think different than what a lot of brand strategies are, where they build something and then they feel like they're forcing the price onto the market.
Right. And don't get me wrong, we have that too. We have elevated price points, but when you're a 3-light bath bar, the price point has to be this price. It's like we have that mindset. So we have a retail mindset, which leans on the Kleinberg history of lighting that they have, and their understanding of the lighting industry. So we have that mindset, but then we apply it to like this kind of boutique design house of Crystorama, and so we're able to kind of lean on all of that history that they have. And then where I come in, I travel around, I visit with different showrooms, I'm at different trade shows, High Points and all the things, art conferences, all the things that I'm involved in. But part of where I come into that conversation is like, I'm out in the field seeing different products on display. Yeah. And there's a reason that these owners or buyers brought that fixture in for display. Something was it the price? Was it the finish? Something about it. So I'm like, while I'm there to like try to sell Crystorama, of course, that's number one, but I'm also there to take like a mental inventory of what are the trends? What's going on? Oh man, I'm seeing a lot of gold, or I'm seeing a lot of black, or I'm seeing a lot of black and gold, or whatever it may be. But I'm always like trying to study what's going on.
Yeah, so boots on the ground.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so that's my perspective. So as a team, like we work together, and we've been able to really grow things at Crystorama well beyond where it was, and kind of the mindset of what people thought it was back in the day. I said, like, I used to have to, the first 5-10 minutes of my conversations were always like, yeah, we're not that anymore. Okay. Like, no, if you turn the page, we have more than just crystal. Like, it's like it was always that. And now I never have that conversation, rarely.
But talk to me a little bit more around how do you think about new collections? How do you think about new product launches? Where are you getting that inspiration besides just maybe your customers? I know there's probably a delicate balance between an art and science. Right. I know you're a pretty data-driven guy, so maybe you can talk to me about what's that balance between just looking at the data about what's selling versus trying to be a little bit more future thinking and just following certain trends that you don't know are going to be like good sellers.
Yeah. From a data standpoint, we lean into the things that are selling, and we study the data, and we study, if we do this, it sells really well in gold, should we do it in chrome? Okay, well, what does it look like in, what does that look like for our catalog? What does it look like for our offering versus just, make it in chrome, put in the next supplement, yay. Like we do it with intention behind it. We do it with a reason behind it. That's like a line extension. But Nancy's very creative. Nancy's Brad's sister, very creative. Art degree, her master's in art from NYU. Started her career as an art teacher. So her perspective on things is from like an artist point of view, from like a creative point of view. And so that, and then having the lighting background. I told you I talk with my hands a lot. Having the lighting background, just from being in
her family,
exactly,
generations.
And then the art side of things. So like she's able to come up with and collaborate on different, if we did this, if we changed this, if the banding went from 3 inches to 2 inches, like just like little subtle changes. And sometimes sometimes real talk, sometimes her subtle changes are like, Nancy, it's a 1/4 of an inch. Like, really? And then it's like, we do it, we make the change, and we're like,
wow,
you were right. Like that 1/4 inch made a difference. Like the banding is seamless now, whatever it is, right?
So do you think a lot of that from Nancy, is a lot of that just kind of her background intuition, or is she just kind of keeping a pulse on the market and seeing things? But it sounds like it's maybe a mixture of both. It's
a mixture of both. It's open conversations. It's open conversations with our team internally, Nancy, Brad, myself, other people. We have wonderful showroom partners of ours. Yeah. And we'll talk to them. We're like, hey, we're thinking about doing this in this color. What do you think? I have a lot of industry friends that I lean on to say, like, hey, what do you think about this? This would be the price point. is this sellable? And they're like, no. Or they're like, absolutely, I need this right now. I have a customer who wants this right now, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you kind of, if you lean on the people that you don't want to just, oh, yes, it's great. Oh, yes, it's wonderful. It's like, no. Like,
the yes people.
Limited inventory space, limited inventory dollars, limited everything. Like, so you're, you know, this has to mean something. So,
yeah. Okay. And then I think, so aside from kind of product and releasing new product or thinking about how you bring product to market, looking at Crystorama as a brand, you mentioned you would always have to go into every sales conversation with explaining the shift in Crystorama. Right. I would imagine that while that conversation, you no longer have to do that, you still go in with a mindset of, hey, I'm going to tell people about our brand and about what we represent. And I know that's really important to you all. Can you talk a little bit about how do you embed your brand into the story, like that story that you tell people?
Yes.
To try to win their business? Because that's a vital piece.
Brand storytelling and branding is what we really try to get across to our customers, to our reps and to our customers. And so I brought our master catalog here, which is our January introduction. Okay. And that is a great coffee table style book that really literally illustrates the brand story, the who we are, the messaging behind the brand, the people behind the brand. So it's not just a book of chandeliers. It's not just like trend forward chandeliers. It has all that. It's a book of chandeliers, and it's trend forward, and it's at the right price point, and it's in stock. So we check all the boxes operationally, right. Where all of those things. It ships fast. All the things are like check. So yeah, those are selling points for Crystorama. But how we package the story and how we tell our brand story. Competition is fierce out there. Yes. And it's not just competition from the brands we all know that are here in High Point. It's brands well beyond that, brands you don't even know, brands you've never even heard of, brands that weren't even a brand yesterday, and then boom, they're a brand today. That's what we really hang our hat on, is branding, the story, the people behind the brand, the fact that we're a family-owned company. Brands are when I first started, it was like you knew the owner of this brand. You knew the owner of this brand. They were right. there at market. They were walking around. Like they were figures in the industry. They were like, leaders in the industry. And now you can kind of count on maybe one hand of that generation of owners that are present in the industry. Obviously, every company has an owner or whatever. I don't mean it like that. I mean it more like...
But maybe they go back, that have the pedigree.
Right. And then
Crystorama ownership.
Not just that, but also just the leaders of the industry.
Okay.
It's like that.
Yep.
And so a lot of these brands have gotten to a point where they've sold, and Crystorama is still a family-owned business, and we really lean into that.
How do you think that maybe this is difficult to know, but in being good at that storytelling, how does that impact, ultimately you're doing that for a reason, right? Mm-hmm. How does that impact sales? Or have you seen it, or have you gotten feedback from your customers that we really appreciate this about you? What is the kind of real world impact of being good at that storytelling? Anything you can share? Yeah,
you can tell when I'm talking to somebody, you can tell when it warms their heart kind of thing. Sure. You're like, oh yeah, we're family business. And then, they kind of light up about even a little bullet point like that. And so then I lean into it, of course, but I think the story does resonate well, because most of our customers are ma and pa, retailers. That's the majority of our customers. And so I think that they really resonate with us, and I think they connect with us, that we're not just a corporate box selling lighting fixtures to every single person who wants to buy a lighting fixture. We're a little smaller, we're a little bit more boutique, but we can still pack a punch with some of the big guys who have distribution everywhere,
right?
Kind of thing.
Right. You got to make people want to feel special,
right?
Yeah. And I'm curious, how that ties into a little bit of you as in the VP of sales role. Obviously, in the lighting industry, there are sales reps. A lot of them are independent, right? And they're carrying multiple brands. And so, how do you kind of get them to buy into the Crystorama story and kind of be good brand ambassadors for you?
Reps. They're all independent reps, right? And so that's not a unique thing in our industry. So sometimes they have a line card of 10 lines, and sometimes they have a line card of 20, and sometimes more, But and sometimes it's a one-man show for the entire state, and sometimes it's a bigger agency. no matter the size of the line card, no matter the size of the agency, if they have an in-house person answering all the all the things that go into the makeup of an agency. Regardless of that, it all comes down to how easy are you, the brand, to do business with? How easy is it to sell? How easy is it to talk about? They have a limited window of time. I've been in these showrooms. It's a 10 o'clock appointment, but the person isn't there, and so now you're kind of just talking to the sales staff, and then now the person gets there, and they showed up, and now it's 10:30. Okay, now that hour meeting is now 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and it's like, okay, what do you got to show me? So you got to be able to hit it, So if we're selling out of the catalog, that's okay, this hour long is now a 10-minute or whatever it is. Okay, let me hit the highlights.
Yep.
If it's digitally on an iPad, for example, you got to know where to hit. So if you don't have your brand down from a catalog standpoint, if you don't have your brand down digitally, if you're not ready to do the hour presentation or the 5-minute presentation and everything in between, if you're not ready, then reps won't gravitate to that. Mm-hmm. So it has to be easy for them. And it keeps their attention. And so when that hour-long meeting and they were supposed to talk about 3 brands that during that hour is now 30 minutes, that's tough. That's really tough. And so I don't want my rep to be like, I'm going to talk about my fan line. I'm going to talk about this. I want them to be like, no. Crystorama's not getting cut from the list. Because
they've enabled me. They prepared me to do this in 5-10 minutes if I have to.
And so that's really important to us, is to be easy for reps to sell, to talk about. And then we give them things to talk about, meaning like the product's fun. It's at a good price point. So it's like, oh yeah, look at this blue glass chandelier. It's like, oh, that's so much fun. And it's only $700. Or, it's like, whoa, it's a fun thing to talk about and to sell. It's not just like, and here's the next thing, and here's the next thing.
Go to the next product.
And so I think I know reps have lines that are like that, where they might sell millions of dollars worth of whatever the brand, but it's not a sexy sell,
Cookie cutter.
So it's cookie cutter. It might be on a project. It might be in a builder package. It might be something. And so they're selling lots of it. But from a presentation, why they made that appointment in that showroom or with that design firm, and what gets them, the rep, excited is like a presentation. And I think we do a good job of the presentation. So you have to keep your reps motivated. Yeah,
absolutely. And so, you mentioned a lot about you keep them motivated and make it easy for them, be able to do whatever time frame that they have with that showroom, with the owner, like make it count. What are some of the things again, I'd like to make this as practical as possible, just for some insights. What do you think what are some things that Crystorama does really well to enable the rep to do those things? I think we've talked about it at a kind of a high level. Can you give me kind of like some very specific examples?
Some specific examples are like we like to group things up, and so like if someone's if they're talking to a designer and they need an ADA wall sconce, and to find an ADA wall sconce on our website, in the catalog, or on our app is super easy. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. Is it in stock? We break out our quantity, so like so it's not just like in stock, yes, no. Obviously, the inventory count is there, but like we go a step further, and then so like you're working on a project. I need 100 black wall sconces. They need to be ADA. The project fell through, so then we have a filter of like different in stock, sure, but 0 to or 1 to 50, right. 51 to 99. It's like no, so we have like a little thing that you can check. So I need 100 wall sconces. Okay, I'm going to check. If it has 90, I don't care about it. Mm-hmm. I need to make sure it has 100.
Right.
So like those types of things, trying to think how the reps get these questions to where they can filter, find the information, use the app, use our website, whatever it is, or use the catalog. In our catalog, we did a big thing with icons. So like how hard it is to install the fixture, that kind of thing. How long is this going to take? So those.
This is on your digital.
Digital so catalog. All those things, like we really try to think of everything. From if a designer is going to be asking this question, a specifier is going to be asking this question, or just the Saturday afternoon sales associate at the local showroom. Like whatever questions they get, we want them to be able to answer it.
Mm-hmm. How do you encourage that kind of feedback loop to make sure that you and the company kind of hear that from the sales reps and from your customers? I think it can be hard. Data gets siloed, right?
Yeah.
Within humans if they don't feel like there's an open environment to share. I'm curious. Just
our biggest thing is making sure people know they have that. You didn't have to call us for this. You could have checked it. That kind of thing, right?
Be kind, but push
right,
back a
exactly.
little bit.
Like,
hey,
we're happy you're called. We're here for you. Call me anytime. But it's on page 3.
Yeah. Okay.
That kind of thing. So, I think it's getting the message out, like making sure people know. The boots on the ground.
Sure.
The people who are selling every day face to face to the end user.
Yeah.
So I think our reps know that. We're just trying to get the message out to everybody.
Right.
I always lean on them because they're multi-line reps. I always lean on, are there reports that so-and-so is giving you that you don't get from Crystorama? Is there something, is there any data out there that you're getting from whoever brand? Sometimes I get some good suggestions or something, but I kind of don't get a good, I don't have an aha moment on that. But I'm always asking that question. I'm like, what can we do better? So we have lists of things that a potential question could answer.
Okay.
Right? So I'm always like, okay, the list is, let's say it's 20. I ask my reps, what else could we be listing? And they're like, Ryan, you list everything. No one's listing as much as you are.
Don't
and I'm like, no, there's got to be more. They're like, no, there's no way we have it figured out.
Yeah.
There has to be more. So, but I'm always engaged with them on that.
Just to think through how you all think about the distribution and the different distribution channels, because I know obviously you all have the showroom side of the business, and that's a major part of what you do. But I do know your and this can be somewhat controversial, I think, in the lighting industry, is that you're very much going towards the designer side of the business as well. Can you talk me through kind of what the thought that went behind that and how's that going?
Sure. Our core business is lighting showrooms, brick and mortar lighting showrooms. That's our number one business. And no matter, and it was like that when I started, and I'm very proud of the fact that we've grown leaps and bounds, and that's still our core business, and I'm very proud of that. But furniture stores, websites, interior designers, for sure. So are we open to selling lighting designers? 100%. Are we open to selling new lighting sellers? Definitely. But we do it in full conversation with our showroom reps.
Okay.
Our showroom reps are our partners, our business partners, and we talk to them. So if I get a designer from Chicago that walks in and is like, I'm a designer from Chicago, I buy from brand A, brand B, and brand C. I don't buy from you. I want to buy from you. Okay, great. So we talk about project. We talk about do you specific needs. We go through project, whatever it is. But we have a form. The form is filled out. The form is then sent to the rep. We have engagement with the rep. The rep then maybe sets up a meeting with them, or maybe the rep already knows them. Oh, yeah, I told her to fill out that form. I've been waiting for this application to come through. But we do it with our rep involved. And the reason we do that is because our showroom business is so important to us. We want our showroom reps to be part of the conversation. Yep. We're not trying to do things around them, or we're not trying to do things behind their back or anything like that. We want there to be a open dialogue on this, open conversation. They know we're trying to grow our customer base. They know we're trying to grow our business overall. They are also trying to do the same, and they're doing it, and we're doing it as a partner together. We're not trying to do things behind people's backs. And other brands have different brand strategies, and that's fine. Every brand's different, but that's a brand strategy that we don't want. I don't want, going back to the rep conversation you were asking me, you want to be easy to deal with, and your brands need to, or your reps need to trust you.
Yeah.
And so I want our reps to be able to trust us, to know that these conversations aren't happening without them in the room. And so that's really important to us. Our goal is to never poach a customer's customer.
Right.
Ever. So if that customer walks in, that Chicago customer, Lightology, they're a big retailer in Chicago. If they walk in, I buy all my lights from Lightology. Okay, well, we're not trying to cut them out of the picture, so we have open dialogue with the rep, and the rep talks to them, and the rep, figures it out with them. But
manages the
yeah,
relationship,
exactly.
yeah.
But we do have great showroom partners. We're not trying to, you buy from Lightology? No, buy from us. We're not trying to cut somebody out That's not how we grow our business at all.
Yeah, because
Right.
I mean, you can't shut the door on people that have
Right.
been supporting you through
Right.
the whole time.
Yeah,
So,
none of it's worth it. Like it's
so having said that, just the designer strategy in general, obviously it's a very different market to go after. So
Mhm.
how have you all been able to accomplish that? What do you think a brand would need to do, or anybody listening to this conversation? What are some kind of tips, tricks, or things that you found that have worked to go after that new customer segment?
Well, one thing that really leans into that is our branding, our brand storytelling.
Yeah.
So that designers love to tell a story when they're, when they're doing fabrics and paint colors and color chips and tile for the bath, and they have granite samples and they have a big story, and then the homeowner standing there like, what's this faucet or that faucet, this chandelier, this fabric or leather, their head's spinning, right?
Yep.
So if they're able to tell the story like, oh, this is a cool brand, they're from Long Island, they're, family-owned business, look at this chandelier, it's $1,000, whatever it is. This chandelier, maybe there's less of a story on it and it's $1,000, whatever. They're going to lean towards I like,
Yep.
So when a designer likes to tell a story, instead of just laying everything out on the table and being like, okay, that's the gold, and then that's the tile, and that's the thing. They want to be able to, why did you pick that tile? Oh, look at this tile. It's so cool. It's brand new from this company, whatever it is, right?
Goes back to storytelling.
Storytelling.
Yeah.
And so we want our designers, in that conversation, we want the designers to be like, not like, look at this chandelier. We want, look at this chandelier. Look how cool this is. It's from this really cool brand. You got to follow them on Instagram, like that kind of thing. We want them to be excited about it. It's not just a table full of samples,
Yeah, it's much more than that. Yeah.
And so, and then if you fall into that, if you're hoping that the designer, interior designer or lighting showroom even, if you're hoping that they have to create a story on it, that's tough.
So in a way, it almost is like those designers, they turn into more brand ambassadors for you too,
100%.
right? So you kind of have to treat them, not that you don't like as
Yep.
a sales rep, but they're another representative of your company. So it goes to the same thing that you'd already talked about, where if you're easy to do business with, if you're easy brand to kind of tell a story
Yep.
about, that helps the downstream, even for the customer side, the
Yep.
designer side.
Designers really like Instagram. When they're talking to their customers, they say it's a mid-century customer. They're like, oh, you gotta look at this, and they reference Instagram a lot, and they reference Instagram that would be worthy to their client. Mid-century. Oh, look at this mid-century room, right? They're not going to show them a traditional room,
Right.
So our Instagram is really like, we have some really wonderful designers who we partner with and have really amazing room shots, and I think having those partnerships and having real fixtures dropped into real, and then when you get that success story, that designer then to the second client, they're like, oh my God, you have to see this install I just did. It's on
Exactly.
Crystorama's Instagram. I just did this last week. Da 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 da.
Right.
Now the client is like, oh, okay, you've worked with them. You're on their Instagram. Okay, I want to be on their Instagram. It's
Yeah,
like, so it's like it gives them a story to tell.
Yep, and builds the confidence. For the
right.
consumer. Love it. I think that kind of pivots where wanted to definitely touch base with you on another topic where it talks about technology and how technology is used in the wholesale industry. This is an industry notoriously known for not having the most advanced technology available for sales reps, for internal use. I've kind of, as I've gotten to know you and Crystorama better, I've been very impressed with your all's use of technology, your approach to data. I'm curious, kind of, when did you all start to really think about technology in a deep way and really try to leverage it as part of your brand and as your selling strategy? Has it always been there, or was there kind of an inflection point?
I wouldn't say it's always been there, because we were really limited with our old ERP. So, it was like doing like long division by hand, kind of like painstakingly, like nothing was easy. The CRM system wasn't easy. The getting data out of it wasn't easy. Nothing was easy. So we just did the bare bones. Sales report, did they grow? Here's the report, like that kind of stuff. Like just
Go make sense of it. Yeah.
Basic.
Yeah.
Now we've launched NetSuite 2022, I think, is when we launched NetSuite. Then near the same time, we changed our website provider to Shopify.
Okay.
Near the same time, we changed our email provider to Klaviyo. And those three companies really connect well to each other.
Sure.
And the synergy between those. So we might have had the ideas of things to run, reports to run if, sales reports in this specific region for this specific thing. It would have been it would have been pointless to even talk about it with the old system.
Yeah.
But now with the new system, the way Shopify talks to NetSuite, talks to Klaviyo, and we can now actually have intelligent conversations to build to support the brand and the growth of the brand. And it's not just the sales report. Oh, the sales went up, the sales went down. It's
a bit more deep.
We can get a little deeper now.
A little deeper now, right?
Yeah.
What are some of those things that you like to do now with this new ecosystem that you've built? Like, how are you better enabling the reps? Would you say? Let's focus on the brand ambassadors.
On the reps.
They're toolkits, so to speak.
Yeah, toolkits. Yeah. So on the reps, it's how we manage like display orders. It's a perfect one. Mm-hmm. Who bought in? We call them who bought in report. That's what we reference it. Mm-hmm. We have an easy way now inside NetSuite to determine, is the order a display order, yes or no? We used to be reliant on like promo codes and this and that, and we used to be reliant on these different ways, and that's fine. But if you write the wrong promo code, you use 2025 instead of 2026, then it's not going to show up in your reporting, right? Naturally. Right. So we have kind of fixed all that, and now we have like who placed orders so far. And we really judge reps on display orders,
right?
Especially this previous January, we came out with this brand new master catalog, the biggest release we've ever had as a brand. So we're all in, guns a-blazing, like 2026, here we go. So we need to make sure our reps are writing orders to support the efforts we're doing, right? Yeah. And so we can, on the regular, run reports to communicate back to the rep, like who placed orders, what did they buy, here's the number one display order in your area, that kind of stuff. So then if they're waiting on the next display order or whatever, they know, okay, this is what people are buying from Crystorama.
Yeah.
And that's another tool, instead of just going through and pointing at the new products in the catalog. Here's the list of the top 50 display pieces from Crystorama so far this year. We used to be able to, that was not a conversation at Crystorama years ago. But now,
I would imagine your showrooms, they have to love that.
They love that.
Knowing what's selling, and having it be personalized to them, to their region.
Yep. Yeah. So that's we like the more data like that, like we geek out over it.
I want to focus maybe on the future of wholesale, especially in the lighting industry. We touched base on it earlier in the conversation. One of the things that we've talked about previously that I thought was interesting is you talked about one of the a significant threat that you do see playing out into the future with China direct. Would love to kind of touch on your thoughts around that, what's happening there, and that kind of plays into all the new players I think we see constantly popping up.
Sure. Yeah. They there's a lot of unknowns in our industry. Aging rep force. We've talked about that. Commercial real estate. Commercial real estate driving these prices up for these ma and pas. Like, commercial real estate isn't talked about enough. But one thing that I don't think is talked about enough is the factory direct kind of brands loosely, showing up, selling in our marketplace. So go on Amazon and type in crystal chandelier. You're not going to see brands in these high point brands. You're not going to see brands in the Dallas market brands. You see these brands and you're like, who are these guys? Now, if you're a trained lighting sales associate at your local showroom, you can talk to your end user and talk them out of that and talk them into this. Like, as a one-on-one salesperson, you can say, here's why I wouldn't buy this one. Here's why I would buy this one. Sure. Okay, that's fine. Which is why we excel on the showroom side, because it's a nice conversation, right? But just a general homeowner doesn't know anything about anything. And they're just, why is this one $100? Why is this one $500? Whatever the numbers, right? To try to get our message out to that person shopping from their iPad while they're watching Netflix. So the attention span is not, what I mean? Like, so that's hard, right?
It is.
So, but the quantity of these brands, air quotes, showing up selling lighting fixtures. We had a phone call, a very troubling phone call, but it was a great phone call because it opened our eyes up to a lot of things. So we have a very popular series called Addis. very popular. And a customer ordered it from whoever.com, a regular customer of ours, ordered it from somebody online. Loved it so much, they ordered a second one. They, in their words, they weren't paying attention. They just went to Google and they bought a second one. They opened up the box and it's our name, the model number. They have the model number. It's our name, our model number, our everything. Yeah. They get the box and they're like, well, this box looks a little different because it doesn't look like the one we just got. So they open it up and they're like, this is not even a little bit the same. They call us and they're like, just so you know, like we're really happy with this fixture, so much so we ordered a second one. And shame on me, I didn't order it from the original person. I ordered it from blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Just so you know, I thought I was buying your fixture with your model number, your imagery, your everything. And it shows up and it's completely clearly different. Not. So thank you for that phone call, Mr. Homeowner, right? But that opened up a door of like having brands sell, having factories, having overseas vendors sell direct isn't new. The Alibabas of the world, that was around pre-COVID. Like that's not new. But post-COVID, I think there's a struggle for some of these businesses to maintain their employees over there, for example. Tariffs. A lot of lighting has left China and is in the Philippines. It's in Vietnam. It's in India. So these suppliers are looking for revenue streams, right? And so like, oh, well, why don't we go sell to the biggest consumer market ever, right?
Go direct.
Why not,
yeah,
right?
To you.
Sure. So it's happening more and more. And in our industry, it's not being talked about enough. And it's not just the fact that it's happening. The fact that it's happening isn't new. What's annoying, what's keeping us up is we see a lot of our imagery, our names, our products, the lifestyle shots,
all
everything
your
being
stuff,
used,
yeah.
And it's clearly not a customer of ours. It's clearly not. Like we don't sell, and then so there's a whole legal aspect of that, which we're down that rabbit hole.
Sure.
But these things are popping up. It's a game of whack-a-mole. And so, and there's different things you can do. There's different tactics you can do, cease and desist letters and different things before you even get like an attorney involved. And we're doing all those things. But the quantity of these things, this one's done. Okay, this one popped up. Okay, wait, that one was done. Now this one's back. Like it's happening a lot. And I have a lot of industry friends, even competitors of mine in this industry, and nobody's really talking about this. And so, like,
why do you think that is? It's just,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because they didn't get that phone call from that homeowner type of feeling, because that was like a real slap in the face for us. Like, we knew it was happening. Like we were like, if there's no squeaky wheel kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like, because maybe the customer did think that they were buying it from us. Maybe they really thought it. Maybe they really bought it, and then they have nothing to compare it to. Which in the previous and they're like, oh, okay, well, this looks a little cheaper than I thought it'd be.
Yeah.
And that's their experience.
Right.
And they bought it from some whoever.com that's not even a customer of ours. And like, so they wouldn't even know to sound the alarm on that conversation or that buying experience. So
what do you think you've talked about kind of the legal path and everything,
sure.
But if there's more awareness around this, what do you think it kind of solves, or what do you think the industry at large some of the things that they could do? Is there anything that you all thought about?
Great question. I don't know, because it's such an easy. I'm saying easy in a tongue in cheek almost. Such an easy thing, the barrier of entry to have a product, have some imagery, have some data, put it on their website. That's a pretty easy. It's not, but if you know what you're doing, that's an easy path to do. Yeah, if you know what you're doing.
Pretty quickly.
And some of these guys are savvy at doing that, and they're savvy at scraping whoever website to get whatever data and fake customer reviews and all the things, and it looks legit. It looks even inspirational stories of how they came up with the product. This was inspired by this, and the mood board that went behind it. And it's all fake.
Again,
it's not even a customer of ours.
They're getting pretty good at the storytelling themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, so what I hope more people talk about this, but what's the end result? I don't know, that they kind of, if these guys are going to do that, that's fine. That's your business model. But do it with your product, with your designs. Do that, and then let's go head to head on price, quality, whatever.
Right.
But what's rubbing us wrong is
It's all your
it's
stuff.
our assets.
Yeah.
And so that's I don't know if maybe people aren't aware,
Like you said, maybe they just haven't been slapped in the face with it.
Slapped in the face,
They
yeah.
just haven't had
or they
it
see
happen.
it and they're like, oh, nobody. If my biggest customers aren't calling me complaining, how big could this problem really be?
Yeah.
It's on page 8 of Google.
Yeah.
But then what we saw is that they were actually spending Google dollars
To
sponsored
promote themselves.
sponsored ads using our information to get a Google shopper to click on the fake version to buy it from a fake website. Like it's gross.
Well, perfect, Ryan. Look, this has been a wonderful conversation. I think
appreciate
we've
it.
covered a lot of ground. Thank you so much for the time.
I appreciate your time.
We
Thank you.
do want to close things out. We
Okay.
actually have a rapid round.
Okay.
All right, you
Okay,
ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah. I do. Yeah.
All right.
So,
So just quick, first thing that comes in the
yeah,
head?
exactly.
Okay.
So this is what we say our rapid fire question round, and we save it for the end, so your brain's already dead. So then we're gonna. Well, this is where all the controversial questions. No, I'm kidding. Nothing too
Spill
crazy.
the tea.
Nothing too crazy. So the idea here, just some quick 10 questions. Really trying to have people just keep it to a sentence or less.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll be quick.
What do your best reps do that your average reps don't?
Know what projects are happening in their area.
Okay. One thing you would automate with AI tomorrow if you could.
Better sales reports that are specific to a region, a city,
Okay.
like really specific.
Personalize
sales
it.
Personalized,
Yeah.
really specific.
The most overspent line item in a wholesale budget.
From a customer standpoint, like
No, for Crystorama,
Uh-huh.
what do you think it's kind of what is an example of like the most overspent line item that you feel like in your all's budget? Or is there one? Maybe there isn't one you feel like.
I don't know. I would have to. I mean, our rents are pretty high.
There you
So,
go.
yeah,
That could
rent.
be- Everyone loves
Go back to- yeah.
to talk about the
Let's go
trade
to
shows
rent,
and how
yeah.
it's too much
That's a good
for rent. Actually, I think that is a good one.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the first time we've heard that one.
Yeah, I was trying
Which
to think
is
of like a
surprising.
real example, like not just pick an answer.
That's good. What's one thing about this industry that hasn't changed in 20 years and should?
And should.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. Okay. What should? What hasn't changed? Well, I was going to say like embracing technology more, but some people have. So, but I think embracing technology more.
Mm-hmm.
I think people need to understand what's selling in their marketplace. We have here I am rambling on a quick fire. We, the industry, not just lighting, but the home furnishings industry, have a huge emphasis on new. Everything is new. Show me the new. I only want to see the new. I have some space in my showroom. I'm only going to pick from the new. And that's great because we come out with new twice a year, right? However, I just ran some reports, get that geek. Just ran some reports and sent it to a lot of our reps. And it was the national drop ships, like national retailers who drop ship, lampsplus.com, wayfair.com, all the big names, right? Google the word chandelier, like all those kind of names.
Sure.
Of what's shipping into their territory. And in the data, it wasn't just like, oh, here's the number one SKU, and it's a wall sconce. Here's the number two SKU, here's the collection name. I added intro date to it because I wanted to prove to the reps that we have such an emphasis on the new, and here's what's being bought from homeowners in your region, in your state. So when you have the next conversation you have with your retailer, and they're like, oh, I have some free space. I want new. It's
new.
like, yes, let's look at the new, but here's what's selling, and here's the intro dates. This is a 2018 intro. It's my number one seller in my region. And if I, as a rep, showed that retailer the 2018 supplement to pick something from, right? I'm sure that fixture's in there, but you know what I mean. Like they'd be like, oh no, I've already seen that one. It's like, yeah, well, people are buying it. Like, I'm showing you, people are buying it.
It's
But
good to sell.
we have this emphasis on new, which is important because we are fashion forward. We need to stay on top of trends, and I get it. But I think we can
Maybe have a healthier
a
balance.
healthier balance, or just recognizing what these other things that sold too.
Yeah.
So like,
Okay.
if you have a big real estate, if you have a big showroom and you can afford it to put more product, look at some of the tried and true sellers too.
Sure.
Like, it's not just always the new.
Okay.
So that's what. Yeah.
That was
That's
it's
a
okay.
very
That
long
was just-
answer
That
for
was
rapid
just
fire.
that was just a really long run-on sentence. It's okay.
Yeah,
All right.
there you go. I told you.
Okay, here we go. Next one. If AI could give you one perfect report every Monday morning, what's on it?
I mean, we know exactly what sold that weekend, who placed the most amount of orders. So it has to be something kind of new. I would say, show me what's trending. I can tell you what sold. I can tell you how many orders whoever placed. But show me where trends are happening that we haven't identified yet.
Okay. Almost like a heat map.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Of
Right.
things that are like,
Of
hey,
things that are-
this sold twice a week.
Right.
2 times a week for the last 6 weeks. Now we sold 20.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of thing. Just show me where trends. We would know that. We would, but Monday morning kind of reporting, like, show me the exact trends. What's trending?
Okay.
I'd like that.
Yeah. Interesting. What's the first thing you look at when you walk a competitor's showroom?
A competitor showroom?
Yeah. Or if you don't walk a competitor's showroom, maybe your own.
I have friendly competitors,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
good buddies with Ron at Veriluz, and those kind of these are friends of mine. You
Sure.
know, so, but yes, on paper we are a competitor, even though
Yeah.
we laugh at that.
Yeah.
When I look at how they merchandise, what the clouds they use, clouds like what a chandelier hangs
Right,
from.
okay.
Yeah. So just I don't using.
No, I mean,
Right.
thank you.
Right,
for
right,
that.
right,
Yeah,
right.
it's
But
good to clarify.
what kind of clouds they use, what kind of music they're playing, what kind of this and that. Not that I'm going to be like, I want that cloud or anything, but it's just,
Inspiration.
it's like okay, that I see how you did that. That's clever. And I even tell them, I'm like, that's really clever how you did that mirror with a light fixture over it, or you spotlighted it, or whatever it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah,
What's the most undervalued department in a wholesale company?
most undervalued, probably customer service. They are on the front lines. They deal with every question, every answer. They have to be product experts. They have to be customer service. They have to be on, right? They can't, even if they're putting out a lot of fires that day, they have to be on and happy. And even if there are no dumb questions, or even it's just like,
Yeah.
oh my God, what do you? This
Customer's
is
always right, but are they?
right. And you're like, oh my God, I told you this answer last week, and you're calling me again. Like that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So I would say that's the most undervalued because they are customer facing. If you need to know anything going on in your company, just look at your customer service inboxes of just like, what are questions being asked? What's the tone in the answer?
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the part is $5. Well, you could have been like,
A little bit
thank you for
more.
your business,
Yeah.
and you could have been.
Let me help you. I'm
Right.
excited to
All
to
that
get
kind of
that
stuff.
for you.
Just look at your customer service inboxes. That'll tell you a lot.
Perfect. All right. Best piece of advice you got early in your career?
I was told to trust myself. So I mentioned at the beginning. I started working at World Imports as a regional manager. It was a Home Depot company, and then I joined Brad's team as national sales manager, and I had imposter syndrome times a million. I was like, what am I doing? I don't know anything. And at the time they were heavy crystal. I'm like, the difference between crystal, I don't know this. This is so luxury. Like, what is that? Like, I'm not that guy. I was 26, turning 27. Like, it's just total imposter syndrome. And through those conversations, it was like, no, you got here for a reason. You know what you're doing.
You can
Trust
do
your
this.
gut.
Yeah.
Like, don't lean into the things you don't know. Lean into the things you do know, and then navigate the rest. Like, so that kind of stuff. And so,
All right. Trust yourself. I
trust
love it.
yourself.
What's the first thing you do when you arrive at a show?
For markets,
Mhm.
the market starting, because yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The reason I asked is because we're here for setup and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
first thing we do,
Like once you're getting into
once
like
you're
show mode.
in, I like to walk the floors. I like to see what changes have happened. Are there empties that popped up? We don't always know that. Sometimes there's a big anchor around the corner. Oh yeah, did you hear they pulled out? And you don't know that until you're there.
Right.
Because when you're there for setup, they might have it boarded up, but that just means it's under construction, right? Yeah. I don't assume that whoever moved spaces or something. So the first market, you got your game face on. I like to see what I call it the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I take a walk through the neighborhood, just our floor, maybe the floor above, maybe the floor down, just to kind of, what's going on? Is everything like boarded up and quiet, or are things lively?
Because it does. The neighborhood does impact you.
100%.
Right. Last one. What's changed most about how buyers buy in the last 5 years?
They know they have a limited budget, and I feel like that budget's even getting smaller. Mm-hmm. And so they don't want to waste time with, this might work. They want to know what's going to work.
It's got to be proven.
It's got to be proven. Okay. And so they want something that they know they can sell, not something that will make their showroom pretty. Yeah. Because I was referencing, when that door opens up in a retail store, they need to convert that sale. That's a really important person that just walked in. So if you have like a bunch of inspirational artwork, kind of geometric things that no one's ever going to put into their house, that's fine because it's a conversation piece. Mm-hmm. But conversation pieces don't pay the rent necessarily. So buyer today, they're paying the rent. Right. So they're here to buy things that are going to turn. Yeah. It's got to be proven. That's where we circle back to the data, right? Mm-hmm. And just being able to stay on top of it, mm-hmm. and provide them with that insight.